everyone. I'm Chris.
And I'm Pete.
And we are LEGO Master Model Builders. So we are located right here in Enfield, Connecticut at the North American headquarters for the LEGO Company.
That's right.
So I have to say, I've been working at LEGO now for 13 years, and it's a pretty diverse job. I've done a lot of different things, but my main experience is in actually creating large-scale sculptures that are building events, that I'll actually go out and build them in public, where we'll make, over a weekend, we might make a model that's 8 feet tall, we might make one that's 20 feet tall, and it's through the help of thousands of families and kids to help build those. Now, your experience is a little different than mine.
That's right, yep. So I've been here at LEGO for about 22 years, and in that time I've done everything from glue models to do events such as Chris described, but my recent role, I find myself as the lead designer on the team here, which means that I have oversight on what models look like, how they're displayed, so on and so forth. So my day can be anything from drawing a concept on paper and pencil, or it could be in the computer, modeling something in 3D to be transcribed into bricks for you to either do as an event or one of our builders to glue in-house.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have, I know I have a favorite project, a favorite model, and I think ours may go together in some way, actually, because my favorite is actually one that we did a couple years ago, was for the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing.
That's right.
So we actually built a 20-foot tall SLS rocket.
That's right.
Right down there with thousands of guests coming through and helping build that model. But you actually built a really cool model for that as well.
That's right. I took an iconic photo from history and I translated that into Lego brick, 1-to-1 at a human scale. Had everything from this iconic reflection in the astronaut's face shield all the way back. But one of my favorite aspects of that is when you guys came back from the event and I got to see photos of real life astronauts standing with this model, and the excitement in their face was mirrored in my own kid's face. So that one's definitely top of the list for me.
Yeah, it was an awesome event. Getting to meet astronauts, build a massive model that we actually needed to bring a crane in to lift up the sections of the rocket. I mean, it was beyond epic. So that's definitely one of my most favorite projects I've ever worked on.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that. All right, so Chris, we're here today in celebration of the 63rd anniversary of the Lego brick.
Yes.
That's right. It's a big one.
It is a big
milestone.
one.
So in celebration of this, we've put together a challenge that you and I have actually already gone through ourselves, but we're posing it to everybody at home who's watching this video. And what we want everybody to do is to grab something, a box of brick you have at home, or if you happen to be in the store, grab a nice classic bucket off the shelf, bring it home, dump it out, and use those bricks to fashion a Lego brick hack.
A brick hack. It took me a while to get my brain around what a brick hack actually is.
All right.
But once I figured it out, it's really a way to make everyday life even better using Lego bricks. So, for example, Pete and I both had the same sets.
That's right.
We each ended up making 4 individual models. And then we made these models to do things. So, for example, Pete and I both made cell phone holders.
That's right.
And then Pete and I both made pencil holders. Actually, I made a pencil holder and you made a holder for spoons, so something maybe you have on a dining room table.
That's right. And anyone who is looking at this assortment would say, this is so close that these two must be a plant.
Yes, they
You see that? We made plant holders.
Like it. Dad jokes 101.
101. But what's really cool about them, and we'll get more in detail later on, but they both have faces on it, which is going to be interesting to explore how we got there. And then lastly, we both made something. This is where we kind of differed.
Yep.
You made a toothbrush holder, which being the dad of some kids, I can see where that would come from.
Absolutely.
And I made a nightlight in the same vein, trying to give maybe some comfort or some cool decoration. But enough of that. Why don't we take a moment and maybe visit each one of these models in a little bit more detail and share some tips and tricks and maybe a little bit of the explorative process to how we got to something like a toothbrush holder.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Chris.
Hey, Pete. How's it
What
going?
are you doing? We're still shooting.
Oh, I can't find my cell phone holder. Have you seen it around?
Wait. Cell phone holder?
Yeah. Did you make one?
Yeah.
You made one?
Wait a second.
Can you find it? Because
Wait,
I can't find mine. Maybe we
are
put
these
them
our
together
cell phone
someplace.
holders on the table?
Oh, there we
look at
go.
that.
There's our cell phone holders. Look at that.
Pretty sharp.
Check that out. Perfect.
Very
I love that
nice.
they both look very different, yet we're working out of the same elements.
I just want to point out, and then I would love for you to give me some explanation, but yours, very clean and very controlled, nice little environment. Mine's a little like me.
Yeah,
It's a little all over the
all
place,
over
a little
the place.
wacky. But why don't you tell me about yours?
There's a reason, I think. So,
right.
so I think if we look here a little bit at mine, you'll notice it's much smaller. As
Yes.
far as I'm not going for something big and grandiose like yours. It's a lot smaller, compact.
All right.
Which allowed me to use the elements that are sparing in color a little bit easier. So, first thing I made actually. First of all, I went with the city street scene. So I kind of had an idea for that. And then it actually started when I saw the red piece. I'm like, I bet you I can make a fire hydrant. And then that really spurred the rest of the idea. And so next thing I made the park bench, because of course it's another thing that kind of ties in the city street, the park bench, maybe a bus stop or something like that. And then from there, I kind of added the flavor, the character to it. And that's the monster down in the sewer drain there. So that all kind of like ties that whole thing together while still making whimsical and fun.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Great storytelling, great use of color, and limited elements. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
I, of course, went in an entirely different direction. If I can just take a moment and remove my phone from here, you'll see that now that you can see the entirety of the model, it's a bit of a character, which is that's, to use your word, flavor that I like to chase down when I'm doing design work. For me, the process started maybe a little bit different than you. I believe you told me that you did it digitally, which means you worked on the computer, brought it up in a piece of software, and you modeled it using the elements. Where actually I started with, I used a computer, but I drew it out. So I approached this whole process and challenge, actually, which is, again, a little bit of a reminder to everybody. This is the same challenge we'd like you to undertake. Grab a box of bricks. For us, it was a classic bucket. Whatever you have lying around, and use those parts. So with that in mind, instead of trying to figure out what I was going to make, I tried to solve a problem. And for me, the problem was something to hold my cell phone. And what I ended up doing is drawing out a whole bunch of different sketches. And through that process, I realized a few things I would need within my model. So I have a little hole in the bottom here, which is a 4x4 element, which is a plate, a new element. It's got a hole cut out in the middle. And what that allows me to do is run the plug through, so I can stick the plug up into the bottom of the phone, charge the phone while it's docked,
I like that.
which I thought was really cool. And then beyond that, I wanted it to have a little bit of personality, again, chasing down a character. As you can see, my friend here, same problems I'm struggling with on a daily basis, since we've all been in the house for long hours and long days. My hair's grown out just like theirs, so got a little bit of bang trouble. So to me, that's actually a funny way of just addressing that. I added character and personality to the design as opposed to just plunking eyes on. He's got face, he's got whimsy, he's got a funny shaped body, and he's also got two little arms. And these aren't just to look cool. These actually functionally serve a purpose. If I turn those arms down, I can now change the orientation of my phone. I could watch a show, or I could even watch this challenge video on this phone with the holder icon.
There we go. Bring it back around there like we did there.
Bring it back around. So I think these are great. Hopefully everyone watching this agrees with us and takes some inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think? You think we should pull in some other models?
Let's move on to the next one and talk about some more cool models we built.
Let's do it. Oh, wait. You got it.
I missed a spot right there. Oh, got it.
Looking good.
Looking good. I think now we need to get back to the task at hand here. Enough trimming our plants. All right.
So what do we got here?
So we, as part of the challenge, we both made separately, unbeknownst to each other. We didn't plan this out, but we both made pots for plants, which I thought was kind of cool. But they look entirely different. And I think the interesting part here, though, is we both made characters.
That's right.
And I think that kind of goes back to what we do here in the model shop is we create a lot of characters, life-size characters, and we brought it into a small-scale model like this, where my model, I gave him a mustache. If you look really in there, there's the tongue is in the mouth as well. And I think one of the cool things, I used a little sideways building on this model. And put in, obviously, he's got to have eyebrows. There's got to be some eyebrows. That way you can control if he's more mad or if he's kind of a sad
or confused.
Or confused. He could be a little sideways like that. So it kind of gives the model a little bit more character in the end. But as well as it just was fun. It was fun to add those life-like features that you would have on a human into something like a pot for a plant.
I think it looks great. I just want to call out because we both used, I think, similar elements to shape our eyes. But you really did this awesome trick where you use sideways building to give them the actual pupils inside of his eyes. I think that's top notch.
Oh, thank you.
I actually wanted to try to really utilize these special shaped elements, which are both windows, I believe. One of them's an arch top, one of them's a square top, and that's how I shaped the eyes on mine. I threw a hat on there because I had enough red elements, but if you really were to look at it, they don't necessarily make sense from like a shape perspective, but they work.
They do.
But I think one thing that's different than this model than any of the other ones I designed while taking on this challenge is I really shaped the actual shape of this pot using the plate that's on the bottom.
That's right. Yeah.
And this was the second model that I actually built. And the reason that I bring that up is I was now a little bit more familiar with the parts that were in the classic bucket I started with, and that really determined the shape of this design, this build here. I also have some sideways building. You can't really see it because, you know, the shrubbery that's taken over the top is covering it, but he has ears, which are kind of handles, and mimics the look and feel of an actual pot. Again, neither one of us were shying away from just utilizing a whole different blend of colors to get the shapes and sizes and security, because you actually have dirt in yours. And
I put dirt.
To keep it safe, I went with French moss or Spanish moss,
Spanish
I think
moss,
it's
that's
called.
right, yeah.
But you got dirt in there, and you had to make it so it was sealed nice and tight, so I can see that you also
I did
used
some
some of the
plates on
bigger
the
plates
bottom.
on the bottom. So
I like how you gave the bucktooth look on the front feature. So kind of every time you can add that kind of character, that personalized storytelling into the model, it comes out well.
yeah, and I think, again, it plays off the eyes, which was that and the base were the key elements that I used to set off on this design. And in the end, I think we both made some things that look amazing.
I had a lot of fun.
I did too.
Next model. Pete, you got the wrong thing. Much better, yeah. So look at this. We each made holders of sorts. I made a pencil holder and you made a spoon holder. That's pretty awesome. I think there was kind of some cool design features that we added into this, and there's some things that kind of worked and didn't work even with our models here. And that kind of actually came to light a little earlier there. I think I'm going to tell a little bit of a problem here, but when we first tried to put the spoons in yours, they all kind of fell out the bottom. I know, I'm giving it all away.
No, that's very true. That's very true. That's right.
So you had to go back and actually add in some support in the bottom so that the spoons and stuff didn't all fall out.
I think we should just let all the cats out of the bag, right?
Yeah.
And admit that this was towards the end. I was running out of pieces in the classic bucket, so I tried to stretch it out a little bit. But I feel like it's a very artistic portrayal of spoons.
It's very modern looking. It's very modern, something very modern looking.
Literally, it's looking because there's
It's
several
looking. There are
eyes
that's
on there
right. Looking towards the future.
That's it.
Maybe that's maybe getting a little deep.
That's it. Yeah. So, anyways, let's talk about yours.
So mine here, I was thinking about my daughter when I made this, that she would like a nice pencil holder with a heart on there. So I put a heart on there just to kind of make it something I think she would be interested in and having on her desk at school or at home, of course, right now. So she's definitely would like to have a pencil holder when this whole shoot is done. So I figured, let's make a heart shape on the front. And I was actually in similar situation that you were. It's towards the end of the build, and so I was just kind of using up the elements I had left.
That's right. But I think what we both did really well is to show that you really can make it work, and Lego bricks, when put together correctly, can be anything you want it to be and serve a function. And still, even though there's a little bit of wackiness and craziness to this, it's still cool looking. It still holds the spoons. And at the end of the day, I feel like I achieved my goal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
On to the next project.
On to the next project.
Hey, Pete, where's the light? I can't see my toothbrush. I'm trying to brush my teeth here.
I'm looking. My toe. Oh, there it is.
There
There
it is. There they are.
There's the light. Those are beautiful.
They
I
are
love what you
pretty
did
awesome.
here.
So, Pete, let's talk a little bit about your model first. What inspired you to build a nightlight?
I think it really is inspiration that came from my childhood. I grew up a big fan of sci-fi. I really like the vintage look of the old rocket ships.
Yep.
So this is actually a nightlight, but this nightlight is inspired by old rocket ships. You can tell that I utilized some of the same pieces you did.
Yep.
So there's transparent elements in the base to yours. There are also transparent elements in this one right here. And the reason I did that is to allow light to escape the model. If you lift it up, you can see it's currently sitting on an LED puck light, and I would strongly suggest that's what you use, as it's the safest option.
Yep.
In this model is just really a fun, cool way of adding a pop of light at night for little ones or for people like myself who just want some cool, fun features in their room.
Yeah.
I know my little girl at home can't wait to have this in her room, and I'm sure your little ones can't wait for that to make its way into the bathroom.
That's true. So yeah, I went a little bit of a different route, but we definitely were both thinking kids when it came to this particular theme that we have going here. And I made a toothbrush holder. And when I was building it, I finished up, I got all the way to the top here where it's an official toothbrush holder at that point. But I was like, it's just not there yet. It's not done. It's missing something. I was just scanning through the entire pile of brick I had in front of me, and I saw the black and the orange elements, and actually the eyes as well, were kind of popping out to me. And I'm like, how about a penguin? That sounds like the perfect thing that would just kind of finish off the toothbrush holder, add a more playful element to it as well. It's just not a toothbrush holder. It's got a little whimsy to it. Has an animal, which kids obviously love as well.
That's right.
And then another interesting part about this model in particular is the sideways building that was used to hold the actual toothbrush. And there's actually another word we use for it. It's kind of a gross sounding word. It's an acronym that we use. Not only do Lego Master Model Builders use it, but also the adult fan community use that as well.
Big time, yeah.
And it's called snot building.
That's right.
So it means studs not on top, and that's anytime you're building out, down, any other direction rather than up, which is the traditional way.
Yeah, which is a good example is you can see the eye here, which is coming off of the side of the model, where this model here is completely, it's called traditional building when we refer to it in the shop, and that's just bricks piled on top of each other for the height, and this one comes onto the side. So it's a really good use of it. You would not actually have a toothbrush holder with that snot building because you're leveraging these really cool arch bricks to hold the toothbrush onto the side of your model. So without that technique,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work,
absolutely.
I think we're just about ready to do this. What do you say?
Let's turn that light off. All right, Pete, I don't know about you, but I think we celebrated the 63rd anniversary of the Lego brick in the best possible way with these brick hacks. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, me too. This was great. You know, I always love to explore what we can do with Lego brick. I think we did an awesome job. There's a great expression of potential here on the table. And man, think it through. 63 years.
That's a long time.
That is a really, really long time. I imagine that you're like myself. You grew up with Lego brick in your house. Got any great stories you want to tell?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a different background than most Lego Master Model Builders in the fact that I had a father who was also a Lego Master Model Builder. I'm a second generation, and it led to some really awesome times as a kid growing up. I'd say probably when I was 8, 9 years old, my father and I, and actually my siblings, were all playing like a smash 'em up derby. We were all making cars, and we were ramming them together to see which model held up the best. So who could make the strongest model? My father would always beat us. We would never win. It was always my father. He would just mow us down. We couldn't stand a chance. And it turns out we found out why. He was cheating the entire time. He was stuffing rolls of quarters inside his models to make them really heavy. And they would just smash ours to pieces.
Oh, Dan, you scurvy dog.
Scurvy dog, that's one of his words.
A little bit of me thought he was gluing them together. So at least he didn't do that.
He didn't, no?
Yeah, so I mean, I have also some great fond memories of growing up. You know, when I was a kid, my brother was older than I was, and he handed down his castle and his pirate sets. And I remember the year that I got, it was a Lego Blacktron, I think it was called the Alienator. It was this awesome little shufflefoot kind of camel-like walker.
Yeah.
And it just opened my eyes to the horizon of what you could do with space theme beyond just castle and pirate, and actually merging them together. Just a whole new world opened up for me. So I think for me, that was the time where the most likely I could pinpoint to how I got to where I am.
So it was the space thing that just blew your mind. It wasn't just castles anymore. It was
the idea.
There's a whole new universe.
You could just fly. You could no longer be tied to the ground or to the water. It was just this whole new thing. We really want everyone out there to start making their own memories. Use this challenge as an opportunity. Grab the closest bucket of Lego brick you have and start building brick hacks like we showed you today. Solve problems, have fun, don't be scared by color limitations, don't be scared by part limitations. Really just have fun, build something awesome, and get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of building something awesome, we have some models back in the shop that aren't going to build themselves.
Very true.
So what do you say, Pete? Have fun building.